Portugal.
In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show at GMP.
Good morning, Portugal, and I'd like to welcome you to another fantastic day.
Hey, Gumpers.
Hola, bon dia, alegria. Munson here with Good Morning Portugal show, a live stream and podcast. How are you this morning? Not struggling, I hope, with the subject of the opening meme this morning. Just a little bit of a clarification here. This off Twitter, the SNS, the health authority here in Portugal, being picked up by somebody called Reading, maybe Reading in the United Kingdom. We will still see pharmacies selling Flumicil instead of Microlax because of this fantastic translation from the SNS. Constipado, of course, just so you know, and it can be a seasonal difficulty at this time of year, is a cold, constipation of the top end, not the bottom end, okay? Well, you know what to do as long as you understand the problem that's happened. The loss in translation right there. So thank you very much for that. Reading over on X, Twitter last night. Today, of course, we launch a craft beer corner here on the Good Morning Portugal show. Don't go if you're not interested in beer. It's such a good focal point of Portuguese culture. If you go along to a Portuguese beer festival, always food, right? Wherever you are in Portugal, you're never far away from some food, from some coffee. Oh, and Owen's waving beer at me behind the scenes. He's joining us at 9 this morning. The food Alchemist is in the building, in the kitchen from 9. And then our new... Oh, look, stop it, Owen. I always forget to have breakfast, especially when Owen's cooking, which becomes really quite difficult by about 9:30, certainly by 10 in the morning when I'm truly ready for something to eat. And Owen has created some beer-inspired recipes just recently. I got a little bit of a video to play, a prep video, and he's actually cooking up a storm, it would appear, this morning as well. So we'll talk to him at 9, and we'll have James from the Andsome Brewery, originally from Dorset in the UK. He's helping us launch Craft Beer Corner, and he's going to be here every first Wednesday of the month with Owen to talk about food and craft beer. An amazing scene around Portugal, which if you're a regular, if you're a Gumper, you'll know that we like to get along to craft beer festivals, the most recent of which, of course, was in Coimbra a couple of weekends ago, which was superb. Here's me and Bairandi. We'll come back to some of these pictures, but that's me and Bairandi there in rapt attention of this fabulous man. This is Guido. Yes, Portuguese Guido. And he was saying he didn't have a single a single Italian rib, was how he put it. A beautiful Portuguese turn of phrase. No Italian DNA. His grandfather, I think. He was hilarious, this man, from the Bila Brewery, Vila Real. They say Bila instead of Vila Real, which you would understandably as a foreigner read as Villa Real with a V, but they pronounce it like Bila Real. And he told us some amazing stories there. That Guido there, who's not Italian at all, he's Portuguese, a Portuguese brewer up there in the northeast of Portugal. Great stories he was sharing with us. And that's me and Bairandi at the Coimbra Beer Festival, where, of course, Andy Klein was also in attendance. Is this Andy Klein? No, that's the Bila stand. There's Andy Klein with our friend Edward. And Andy Klein, of course, making the documentary of the Englishman, the Irishman, and the German going to a beer festival in Portugal and having a great time. So that was the most recent. And we've been to a few, and we'll talk more about those when James joins us at 9:30 this morning. This is hilarious. Thank you very much for this, James, that's in this morning. We'll talk to you in just a moment, and everyone else who's assembling in the chat, in the community chat. I was writing a Portugal Resident article last night and explaining what a gumper was. Are you happy with it? Actually, I think I'm going to cut and paste this because I'm trying to explain to the Portugal resident readership what a gumper is. Let me just see if I can find that little bit of text which does exactly that. Yeah, you shouldn't send articles by WhatsApp. They can make for quite a big WhatsApp message. A gumper is a member of the Good Morning Portugal community who loves life in Portugal with all its ups and downs, highs and lows, usually with a smile on their face and a great fondness for Portuguese life in their heart. Join them every weekday morning on the GMP Breakfast Show, which you can find on YouTube. That just about sums it up, doesn't it? I'll pop that into the chat and then you can tell me if I've missed anything on that. Thank you very much. João de Norte is in. Loved our conversations yesterday morning and last night. John, and thank you for being the inspiration for the new article that will be out in the, not only in the Portugal Resident, actually, it's going to be taken to the United States of America. Oh, and yes, of course, a gifted community of writers. Owen's pointing at his poetry book, which he'll also tell us about. Oh, and the photograph of, yes, the North. There are so many lovely connections here. Thank you for that, Owen. Keep that ready because we need to see your book in print, in your hand, which people can download from Amazon. And the link for doing that actually is in the show notes. You'll find that in the show notes there. So is that right? A gumper is a member of the Good Morning Portugal community who loves life in Portugal with all its ups and downs, highs and lows, usually with a smile on their face and a great fondness for Portuguese life in their heart. Owen, I think, absolutely qualifies. And you'll see that, I'm sure, in the work, his poetry. We've seen it. We've heard it in his poetry, haven't we? And it's collected together in a single volume now, which you can buy from Amazon. Published poet, not only Renaissance man, published poet. He likes his craft beer, loves his food, and he's cooking for us this morning at around 9. And James from the Andsome Brewery joining us at 9:30. Also joining us this morning, Jackie from Expats Portugal with upcoming attractions over there. Always good fun talking to Jackie, who I suspect will be in Cascais this morning. James was in at just after 8. Bom dia, Gumpers. Feliz que a todos que têm feito. And a mindful moment then. Every life has its challenge. Every heart has an answer. Well, that's lovely, isn't it? Every life has its challenge. Every heart has an answer. That's heart math. And a mindful dad joke. From the sublime to the ridiculous. What's the difference between your friendly yoga teacher and a credit card? Your yoga teacher is your flexible friend. Your credit card is a piece of plastic. Thank you for that. So just in case anyone was taking some instruction on how to perform a sutra from their Barclay or Visa card this morning. Does anyone still have a Barclay card? Or did that disappear with vinyl in the late 70s? American Express is still a thing, isn't it? In some places, probably America. My goodness, Diners Club. Do you remember that? Hola, bon dia, alegria from João de Norte. Oh, before we move on, and after that, good point from James not to save things for the end of the show because we always run out of time. Here's his visual dad joke as well. A good Star Wars base. We've gone from Star Trek generally that we feature to Star Wars. And that's everybody in the first movie, or is it the third movie, depending on which way you look at it. Hurry R2. We're dying in here. They're all trapped, aren't they, in some part of the of a spaceship somewhere. Now, forgive me, because anyone who knows Star Wars will know exactly which ship that is and what scene that is from the movie. But you get the gist. Our band of the protagonists of that particular hero's journey are stuck in a moment of tension from which we're hoping they will be relieved. They're shouting at R2, or C-3PO is shouting at R2, hang on, I'm almost, I prove you're not a robot. Well, they're all screwed, he says. You have to kind of see it on screen. Thank you very much for that, James. Thank you very much indeed for that this morning. More pictures of craft beer. Oh, and a wonderful pizza possibility. Networking, meeting strangers on the Silver Coast. I've got that to show you as well at the Donna Branca pizzeria that I mentioned a few days ago, because they've got a great event coming up that I'd also like to share with you. Back to the comments for the time being. Bon dia todos from Coach Turner. Feliz Quinta. We're off to one of my favorite cities today, Annecy. The lake, mountains, canal, the gorgeous architecture. Oh, and great food too. What are you going to have, Coach Turner, in Annecy? En France, I wonder. Bon dia. I can have some pureed potatoes and some finely julienned beans. I can have some French fries in France. Bon dia to you, Pinky. How's it going? And God's God tip of the day. We had a wonderful walk yesterday down the valley to Chamonix, mostly through the woods. It reminded me how relaxing that sort of environment is, especially when combined with exercise. And I still can't. Why can't I? It's like Lagos. I can't implant this. What NSDT means in my head. It's really, really weird. And the harder you try, the more difficult it becomes. Not so deep thought. There you go. Stop trying, and often the answer comes, doesn't it? Not from the logical or rational mind, but from somewhere else. Oh yes. Not so. Not. See, I forgot it again. Not so deep thought then. Yes, I've remembered it again. Comes and goes. But literary this time. So not so deep thought warning. Literary this time from João de Norte. From Lewis Carroll, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland Through the Looking Glass. If I had a world of my own, everything would be nonsense. This does sound like my world, João de Norte. Nothing would be what it is because everything would be what it isn't. I don't know. This is the world at the moment, which I've been trying to say on Facebook for quite a long time now, with a culmination of a little bit of an upsetting post I may have offered last night. But this is absolutely right. I'm going to start this again. This is where we're at, João de Norte, in the world. Not our personal lives necessarily, but in the collective consciousness. Isn't this exactly how it is? Isn't this what Lewis Carroll was pointing to from his Alice's Adventures in Wonderland Through the Looking Glass? If I had a world of my own, everything would be nonsense. Nothing would be what it is because everything would be what it isn't. And contrary-wise, what is, it wouldn't be. And what it wouldn't be, it would. You see, it's everything at the moment. It seems so switched and spun around 180 degrees that it's actually quite clear and obvious, isn't it, that that's how it is at the moment in the worldly world. Not in the world of the Gumpers necessarily, but in the worldly world, in the collective consciousness. Like up is down, isn't it? And of course, you know, what goes around, what spins around comes back around eventually. Go get my eyebrows sorted. I just noticed they needed a comb this morning, which I neglected to do. Buddy, bon dia. Alegria from sunny. Oh, you're back, buddy. Yay. So happy to be back and escape all that snow. Looking forward to the show. Fantastic. And going well, says Pinky. Thanks for asking. We are concerned about your well-being, all you Gumpers. This is a place to come and say hi in the mornings and to be high in the mornings in whatever way you organize that. You could almost call it mindful exercise. No, Owen, where can you go walking that would give you that experience? You could almost call it mindful exercise. Where can you go walking is the coach's question that would give you that experience. The lane between me and the main road is my I wouldn't call it my happy place necessarily, but I just want to get there. The trees, the dirt track, people using it as a toilet, all of those things add to the most amazing experience of being in nature. It's absolutely lovely over there. So I definitely get that. And I'm very lucky to be within walking distance of the sea on the Grallia Cliffs. I'm going to walk to Salgado one of these days as well. We're very lucky, and I can walk to the beach here in San Martino. Absolutely, for a little bit of mindful exercise. Very good. And foreseeing from the book 1984 as well. What does that refer to? Does Orwell mention Gumpers in 1984? We've got a theme song, haven't we? And we look at screens. We're starting to have some of our own language. Yikes! Almost anywhere in wilderness, says James, when it comes to mindful exercise. Okay, Jackie is getting ready to talk to us in Kashgaish this morning. I believe we'll find out in just a moment when we speak to her. I can see her backdrop, but I can't see her just yet. So it might be down the line. It might just be vocal and audio. We'll see in just a moment. But I'll give her a couple more minutes to get organized, and I'll give you a little taster of, I think that's a lobster thermidor you're seeing on the screen there. There's all sorts of food preparation going on as far as Owen's concerned. That was a dish that he knocked up yesterday. In between preparation for this morning, he's been a busy man, writing poetry, researching beer-based cooking and cooking as well. This was something I wanted to tell you about. I'm loving the look of that book, and I've put that on the slide for the show, Owen, this morning. Actually, I'm going to bring that slide onto the screen because this is an important moment, or an important morning. We are launching Craft Beer Corner. And just quickly then, before Jackie joins us, the Alice in Wonderland quote is foreseeing, from the book 1984. It is, isn't it? Where everything seems to be the opposite, mirrored or spun, or whatever. I think you get the gist. Hi, just in case you didn't hear about this event, this next event at Dona Branca, which this is my new friend Dulce and her partner Tiago, who's the owner of Dona Branca. And this is an event called Pizza with Strangers, which sounds like a movie, doesn't it? If this was a movie called Pizza with Strangers, this is how it would go. In the cinema, in the movie theaters in the fall of this year, one communal table, 12 pizzas, 12 strangers, and 12 to 732,985 conversations. Yep, we did the math. 25 euros to get in. A welcome drink, starters, pizzas to share, and a dessert. How about that? DM them at Dona Branca. That popped up on the Tastes of the Silver Coast Facebook group, which even if you don't live on the Silver Coast, is worth being a part of. And that's a really good reason to come to Caldas de Rainha. If you haven't been to Caldas, that's a really good reason. I haven't been to Dona Branca yet, but from what Tiago told me about it, I am keen to get there. I can't see the date of that, the way that graphic works. It's a Wednesday. Oh, it's a Wednesday at 7:30 in the evening. That might work. Maybe see you there. Fabulous. Okay, let's go over to Cascais now, shall we? And give her a nice big round of applause. And change the screen and bring Jackie on. Good morning to you, Jackie.
Hi, good morning.
Olá, bom dia, alegria. Tudo bem?
Bom dia, bom dia. We're a little bit cloudy here this morning in Cascais. I don't know what it's like for you.
Similar. It was very misty yesterday. And the sun did its job and burnt off the mist of the Silver Coast yesterday morning. So by the afternoon, and this is what inspired my latest Portugal resident article. I was talking to João de Norte, who confessed to me, and I was able to confess back to him that we'd both had a little nap in the afternoon. And Jackie, I was sat outside on my ceramic deck because that's how it is here in Portugal. It's not a timber deck; it's a ceramic deck out on the front there. Yeah. My neighbours must think I'm a idle so-and-so. I went out there for a cup of tea and just a quick 40 winks, 20 he would have done. Just a little moment, a nice little moment. 3 hours later, I was still there. The world came to me, Jackie. I had cups of tea. I had cats, one cat, then two cats, and a dog sat on me. Then some visitors. They brought snacks. I sat out there till it went dark pretty much yesterday. So it was lovely to be able to.
It sounds amazing. That is the perfect Portuguese afternoon.
Do you know what? That's what I called it. It was like it was a Goldilocks day. Not too fast, not too slow. Absolutely perfect. It was a perfect Portuguese day. That's what we came here for. And the reason I mention it is because it's to do with the weather. And this is how it is, isn't it? It's 7 o'clock. We've got a coat on and a scarf and a hat, and then you can sleep in a chair outdoors. By the time the afternoon comes, it's that time of year, and it's often warmer outside than it is inside. So maybe that's the sort of day we'll be having today.
I don't know. It's starting to rain, actually.
Oh, no, really? Yes, those doom mongers have been saying that the rain is coming back. Colder weather and rain, from tomorrow, which, of course, is the big day over at Expats Portugal. Thursday is the high point of the week, isn't it, with the webinar and Dream Team session. What have we got this week?
Actually, Nick, tomorrow's going to be a little bit different. We start at 6 p.m. and we're actually Holbrook, they're an investment firm, is going to be doing the webinar. And I think what's interesting about them is that most of us think of the Golden Visa as just gone. And in fact, it's kind of morphed into something else. And Holbrook, amongst other things, because they are an investment firm, I think they're going to be talking about different ways to approach the Golden Visa that are still viable, which are still viable options for people. And I think that surprises a lot of people because most people don't, they just think it's gone forever. So.
Well, that's right. Unlike the NHR,
Yeah.
which is flatlined and shows very little sign of if it's ever to come back, it will be as a new policy, won't it? And some people think the golden visa went the same way. It's not finished. It's just how we knew it, how people were accessing it. That route has changed, but there still are other methods. And Henry and Jason will be talking about that at 6 o'clock. And there are more details about that, aren't there, on the Expats Portugal website?
Yeah, I think that could really be helpful to some people. I mean, it's kind of interesting how politics and perception influence all of these things. In fact, I
Well,
just
tell me
saw
about it.
an article, and I don't know if it's true, it's in the Portugal News, about there are more apartments now for rent in Lisbon and Porto.
Well, actually, funny enough, I talked to Gilda last Thursday about this. Somebody asked that question, I think, on YouTube, because we take questions from the members on Zoom, and we take questions on YouTube from YouTube members as well. And someone said they've been searching on Idealista, and they'd noticed that there was more rental inventory coming onto the market. Have things changed? Is it a seasonal thing? And Gilda, I think, said yes to both of those. Also, the somewhat alarming news that these are homes of Portuguese people that are coming up for rent because they're moving abroad. That was part of it. It was a mix. It was a mixed answer, sort of an equation of why there might be more rental inventory. But that was one of the reasons. And some
I
seasonal.
think there's a lot. I think there's a lot of reasons, and
Always, right? Things are complex.
well, I think the government now is making people prove that those are Airbnbs. And if they can't prove it's an Airbnb, you know.
Okay. Then they might
I
repurpose.
think there may be something to do with that. I'm not quite sure, but I think the proof of being an Airbnb, again, your audience would probably know more about this than me. And I think they're realizing, Airbnbs are not so easy to either maintain or to prove or even maybe as profitable.
Yeah.
So
Changes.
I think that might be
Antonio Barbosa writes about this on a regular basis. So check out his work on the subject as well. Antonio, feel free to give us a link in the chat to what Jackie's talking about. And of course, there's a chance to ask these very questions tomorrow night on the Dream Team session, right, Jackie?
Yeah. We'll be. I think the normal Dream Team is at 9.
Yep.
I don't think it's a 3-hour Holbrook. I think there's going to be a big break between those.
Well, they're usually in and out, aren't they? With a helpful and clear presentation and an opportunity to take a look at that further and realize that the golden visa is not dead. It's just different. You're so right about politics and perception. I mean, tell me about it. This is what's going on at the moment, isn't it? It's like, you can't go with, and we've said this before, Jackie, you can't go with your first emotional reaction to what's going on in the world at the moment. You've got to calm down, take a breath, and really look at the facts. And that's what, when it comes to moving to Portugal, that's what we do at 7:30 normally. It'll be 6 tomorrow and 9 o'clock for the Dream Team tomorrow evening. I think this might be fan mail for you, Jackie. You are looking especially beautiful today. I don't think that's for me.
Oh, that's lovely. Is that Sarah Davies?
That's my missus.
Oh, yeah. I don't have my glasses on. So I thought it was Sarah from Spartan.
Well, she does. She does.
Thank you.
She does have her glasses on, and she's giving you that feedback there. How about that? Ocean dweller Aviva, Ola, the Saharan sands are blowing, and it gives a golden glow at the moment. For me, I mean, with just a little bit of sunshine and some warmer temperatures, I'm thinking the spring's here, but I might be a little bit premature on that. Another not so serious deep thought. Take some more to this again from Lewis Carroll. March here, I've had nothing yet, so I can't take more. Oh, I see. Alice, you mean you can't take less? It's easy to take more than nothing. This is a classic work. In 1984, Brave New World and Through the Looking Glass are all just coming into sharp focus in the age we live in. And Joao Denot continues, also from Lewis Carroll, read the directions and directly you will be directed in the right direction. Okay, and I'll take it, says Louis as well. Bon dia, all from Jackie the Humble Crafter, who's just popped in. So what's going on? Things, although, we're not sure if the spring and summer are here yet, Jackie. I live in hope. But Cascais presumably is getting a little busier, and you're feeling the tourist season coming on over there.
Actually, I haven't noticed it quite yet.
Okay.
No. It's still kind of nice and slow and easy to get a reservation at a restaurant, and
Oh, good for you. Enjoy it.
yeah, it still belongs to the people that live here, so it's nice.
And is Carnival a thing in Cascais? Do they go for Carnival?
I I don't know. That's a
Probably not.
great
Maybe not
question.
then. Maybe not then in that case. Because
I don't
different.
know. It seems something great and fun, but I think lots of towns around us are doing things. I
Yes.
don't know if what the municipality is doing anything specific.
Okay. All right. Excellent stuff. Well, thank you very
Always a
much
good
for being
time.
here. Anything else to share with us? You and I are going to be chatting soon, I think, and talking more about your personal experiences of being in Portugal and how it has exceeded your expectations. So I'm hoping to do that soon. Anything else we need to be looking out for from
Well,
the?
I think we have to work on an article on the top reasons Americans are still coming. I mean,
Oh yes.
like you said, people stopped, they took a breath, and they realized this was still a great idea.
Yeah.
So we have lots of Americans. We thought it would be a real shift after the NHR changed,
Mhm.
but it hasn't
Right.
really.
Good. Good. Glad
And
to.
so you and I need to have a conversation because we're going to do a small YouTube video about why they're still coming.
Great, excellent. I look forward to that, Jackie. You have a great day in Cascais, and we'll look forward to seeing you again next week on Wednesday. And I'll see you tomorrow evening for the Dream Team session.
See
Okay,
you
take
then.
care. All right, ciao,
Bye.
ciao. Bye for now.
Bye now.
There she goes. Mrs. M's right. Jackie A there looking real beautiful in Cascais. Naps are not a confession for me. They are a declared and embraced experience for me. The sexta, not a siesta, but they're called a sexta. Aren't they here in Portugal? And thank you for that. Have you got a lot of that in Madeira, Aviva Ocean Dweller? The Saharan sands. Yes, they're giving the golden glow over there. And let me see what else I wanted to. If I've shared everything, oh, there's Pete's parsnips. Any more interesting fruit or vegetables that we can titter over, please send them our way. Oh, yes, I wanted to mention this to you. This is what I'm going to be eating on Friday. I'm going to be going for another fabulous wine event at the Storytellers Palace in San Martino de Porto. Look at that. I think there might be a couple of places left if you fancy a last minute treat. I mean, it really is a treat to come over and stay at the Storytellers in the bay, look out over the water, and you'll be nice. If it is raining and cold, you'll be snug in that hotel. Luxury experience, drinking wine and eating amazing food like turbot steak with beetroot, a tenderloin, in a chocolate cream. How about that, Owen? Tiger shrimp marble, is that as a starter? That's after you've had some welcome canapes and a cocktail. And this is with the Convidado wine producer, and we'll be having another educational evening in their company. So you can make a reservation on 917-632-020, or just get in touch with me. It's the second of their 13 at the table wine pairing evenings, which are the last one was epic. I wrote about it. And we have a fabulous looking dessert there, a late harvest de Malhadinha. I'm not sure what that is, but I'm really looking forward to it already. And a melon cream shot. Well, that's an interesting dish or experience, I suspect as well. Looks like Buffy the Vampire Slayer is at your posh do on Friday, Carl. Yes, what's she called? Michelle? Is that Michelle Gellar? And they do look very show busy, the pair of them there, don't they? So should I be worried? Should I just stuff some garlic into my suit jacket, which I will bring home next? The last one I went to, I think I left my jacket there. Alan Martins is here this morning. Good morning. All from Maynard, Massachusetts as well. And Sarah Michelle Geller, to give her a proper name. Talk about growing in Portugal. Has anyone listening today used electroculture to grow veggies? I'm curious about it. That actually sounds like a torture, doesn't it? Electrocuting vegetables. It sounds like there should be a law against that. Are those poor little vegetables are like growing under fear of electrocution? We lived together, Mrs. M, and I've never heard you talk about that. Let's see if Owen's heard anything about it. Big round of applause. And let's bring him onto the screen. Do you electrocute your your marrow and sprouts, Owen? Oh, you're muted for some reason there, mate. Let me just... No, I can't unmute you. You've muted yourself, apparently. It's you. It's him. And I can't take the tension. I need to announce.
Good morning. Good
Morning.
morning.
I can hear you now. I was on the edge of my seat waiting for to find out if you electrocute your vegetables.
No, I was watching because there was a study, a test done in Egypt surrounding the pyramids. And what happened is that they used the exact same soil, and they in between this triangular shape or pyramid shape. So they grew inside the pyramid, and then they also grew outside of the pyramid. And they found that the plants that, or the vegetables that they was growing inside the pyramid was growing a lot better than the plants that was like actually outside in the soil. Exact same soil, just one was built under a pyramid structure. And I have heard of it before, and I have started seedlings off under a copper pyramid. And yes, it does work.
It does work. Well, thank goodness we've moved on from all that superstitious nonsense, and we grow on massive fields with loads of pesticides and cruelty to
good old Monsanto and Bayer.
We've moved on from pyramids and copper. We thank goodness for that, eh?
I actually have, Cal. Sorry, I need to check this steak and just take it quickly.
He's going to go and poke something while we talk more about this. We need copper coils. It's why I wanted to buy a load of copper wire. I do get worried when Mrs. M goes into the Chinese shop. I think the Chinese shop also perhaps get a little bit worried as well when Mrs. M goes in and asks for. Do you remember things like how to heat a house using a couple of terracotta pots and about half a ton of hardware and a tea light? I think, did we do that? I think we might have done. Morning, Owen, says Mrs. M to you, Owen. And Lewis Carroll quote, for why your child asks too many questions. If it was so, it might be. And if it was so, it would be. But as it isn't, so it ain't. Well, that'll stop them asking questions, won't it? Bon dia. Very interested in electroculture. So you've hit a nerve there, as you might suspect, with those little electrical impulses there, Mrs. M. And morning, Louisa, from Jack Polly. And never built that one. No, we didn't get round to doing that, did we? We have built some other interesting things at home, though, using copper and nuts and bolts and resins and stuff. I meant to say, for when your child asks too many questions, we got it, Joao de Nort. And hey, Jack, hey, everyone from Mrs. M. So should we roll VTO in? You sent me a video. That's a good way of establishing what's going on today, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, so. Exactly that.
Let's give it a spin, and we can sit back and enjoy this. It's about 5 minutes of prep video of what's going on in Owen's kitchen just yesterday, I believe. So let's have a look.
Hello there, everybody. Here's an ingredients for you, and this is a beer marinated steak tacos. So the ingredients I have here: some nicely cut steak, lime juice, garlic, chilies, olive oil, salt, pepper, chipotle pepper, coriander, red onion, and red tomatoes. And I've used this Desperados, which I got from Continent. And that will be used in the marination. And I'll show you the next step. Okay, so into the bag goes, into a resealable bag goes the steak. And what I'm going to add to that is the salt. And also the black pepper as well. That's been added to it, and then I'll add a tablespoon. I'll add a tablespoon of the lime juice. That's in. And then seal it all together. Seal it at the top. And and then just shake it all around to make sure that all the juices and everything have been added. So that's been done there. Let's go on to the next step. So just to a high grill, I'm just going to put the chilies and tomatoes under just so they get charred, and that should take around about 8 to 10 minutes. So while we have the tomatoes in under the grill, I'm going to add the garlic to the rest of the lime juice. So it's the garlic. And then the onions. And the cilantro, the coriander. I'm going to leave the salt and pepper on there for taste. Coriander there. And then also the chipotle powder. Chipotle spice. And then go back to the little thing I missed earlier. So I forgot to add the beer, the most important part of the marinade. So in goes the cerveza. Nicely in there. Can now reseal it and leave it for anything up to 3 hours. You know, a minimum of 3 hours rather. And now that I've done that, I'll pop that back in the fridge. Marinate away. And then let me just turn you around here for a minute, because we have the chipotle spice, the onions, the garlic, and the coriander, cilantro. Just going to pop this on top here, and I'm going to blitz this until smooth. I'm going to spare you the noise. So I'll be back in a moment when it's blended. So now the salsa's all done. I'm going to set this aside now and wait for the tomatoes to complete. And then I'll be back with you with the next step. So just to complete then, this is the added salsa, which has to leave to be cooled now. And I've added the char grilled tomatoes and chilies to that. So that can go into the fridge once it's cooled down. Salsa's there. So the salsa's all prepared. The steak is marinating in the fridge, in the beer. And I will show you the rest of the cooking in a moment or two.
Excellent stuff, Owen. Oh, you're back there, mate. And everything is ready to roll with the taco.
It certainly is.
And we've got a picture of the marinated meat as well that you've sent in. How is that done? That's been in there overnight, has it not?
That was left overnight, yeah, and that's it, just after it's come from under the grill. So after you've marinated it, 3 hours marinate it, but I did it overnight just to impart the flavors into the steak. And then I put them under a high grill just to get it charred. So I can make these up for you now as we talk.
Oh, can I ask a couple? Is that critical timing wise? Because I wanted to ask you about chipotle. Is such a funny word and a brilliant word. What is chipotle exactly? Is that a trade name or a place?
It's a type of chili.
Right. Okay. All right.
So that's what. In fact, I didn't actually use the chili myself because they're quite hard to find here. So I use the spice that you can buy from the supermarkets. However, my good friend who is a beekeeper in the UK and does a lot of pollination for growers is sending me a whole bunch of 61 varieties of chilies this year, which I'll be growing on. And I'm going to be making my own spice mixes and curry mixes and things like that.
Loving
this year.
it. The Food Alchemist range is shaping up nicely, isn't it? We've got Scotch eggs under our belt, so to speak. And now this chili idea. That's fantastic. And is that honey then? Is that infused with chili blossoms, perhaps?
There are lots because my friend David, so I'm not on camera, because my friend David is a beekeeper, he goes around to, as I say, mass producers, whether it be tomatoes, chilies, all kinds of plants, and he literally sets his bees off to do the pollination, and obviously he gets some honey back as well. So as well as me getting some seeds, hopefully I'll be getting some different flavored honeys as well.
Fabulous. And a nice bit of product placement there. There was Marmite on the worktop. That's nothing to do with the recipe, though, is it? That's just a lifestyle choice.
That's not my lifestyle choice. That's Joao's choice.
Is it? Very good.
And he's going to be my test. He's sat over. No, hang on. He's sat over there.
Excellent. He's ready. He's ready. He wants me to stop talking and get on with it, presumably. Just very quickly, 2 books. Three books to speak of.
That's Joao Denot.
Hey, he's ready. Not yet, John. Not yet.
So on the strength of today's show, I've been studying and doing my research.
Yeah. That's a lovely looking book. Look at that with that fantastic picture of people enjoying.
It even goes down to menus and the individual courses and which beers to serve with them as well. So that's really good.
Eating with beer, that's superb. Your own book, we can celebrate that.
Of course. Currently, we've just hit double digits, so I've sold 10 copies, and I can say worldwide as well now, reaching as far as New Zealand.
International poet. This is Owen Lloyd Martin on the screen, who can write poetry and cook for you, as we're seeing this.
And Carl, could I ask who took the photograph of the front cover?
Oh, a very gifted photographer who happened to be in the north of Portugal on that day. Love that. Fantastic. That's great to see. Well done.
And book number 2 will be out very soon as well.
Oh, good man. And there's another book that's knocking around at the moment, isn't it? Is the Portuguese cookery book by the 2 ladies.
I don't have with me at the moment, but yes.
Okay, so hopefully we'll get them on the show at some point. So back to today's recipe then. You're going to be rolling up the tacos now, I think.
I am. I'm going to do one for Joao Denot.
Okay.
So I'm going to put lettuce on and then add the steak.
Oh, my goodness. A note to self, must eat before doing these food shows with Owen.
And then the peppers, tomatoes, green onion.
Yeah. On
top there. And then this wonderful chipotle salsa.
That's going to bring it to life, isn't it? The salsa spread over that.
Absolutely that.
Okay, and what's your rolling method? Do you tuck a little bit up underneath? How are you doing that?
I do it many ways, Carl. But what I'm actually going to do is pop this on to a plate and pass it to Joao Denot.
And he can do it how he wants to himself.
And he can do it how he wants. And I'm going to change the camera around, so bear with me while I do that.
All right, excellent. Oh my goodness, yes, must eat before doing this.
In fact, as we speak, Carl, Joao Denot isn't going to be on camera, but we will have his voiced opinion. Oh, can you write and be here at the same time?
That's incredible. He's a man of he's a man of many skills. I shall be there momentarily to partake of a morning taco. Excellent. Who doesn't like?
So with this beer that I've used, it's actually a tequila flavored beer as well.
I thought so. No, that's an import. That's not made in Portugal, is it? That's
it's an agave spirit flavored beer, full bodied lager, spicy with lemony tones, and perfect for the beef marinade.
Well, last night you cooked something to go with a stout, didn't you? We're going to come back to find out more about how these taste. But yesterday's food was a lobster thermidor, which was paired very nicely with a stout, was it not?
That's correct, yeah. And that's with, like I say, from researching the book and having a look. I knew, obviously, I was doing the tacos, but I wanted to do... Well, John and Pam actually the day before told me that they bought some lobster and if I could do anything with it. And you know me, I love a challenge. Yeah. And through looking through the book, it did quote that stout was a great accompaniment to go with lobster.
Wouldn't have thought that, would you? I would think like
oysters, perhaps.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, oysters and Guinness. Yeah, of course, a classic combo. And how was it? What's a thermidor? Is it baked in that little pot there?
It was, yes, because it was lobster tails. It was baked in those little pots there. But that was rather tasty. We had garlic and thyme, spinach, sautéed spinach, smashed potatoes, and obviously the carrots and the cabbage.
Brilliant. And local produce there? You presumably your growing hasn't really started just yet?
Hasn't started just yet, no.
Okay. But that's all stuff from the local market. Because I've returned to the local market as of yesterday. I've got into some lazy habits. And with everything I've been saying about farmers recently, Owen, I thought I've got to get some cash out the cash machine and go and use cash in the Mercado Municipal. And I was back in there yesterday, and it was fantastic. Shop daily, go get fresh stuff from the market. I'm back into that habit now, I'm delighted to say.
I encourage everybody to do that. Support your local growers.
Yeah, it's so easy to slip into the supermarket habit. That's what I did. And it was lovely to see the faces. Oh, it's a thumbs up from João de Norte.
It certainly is. He's loving it. And I'm going to have my breakfast now. I've wrapped myself one up, but I've got my accompaniment to go with it.
Yeah. And what have you got there? Is that Coruja?
Coruja, which is, I decided that I would, because Letra, which is my local Wednesday night haunt for craft ales, because it wasn't open yesterday, what I decided I would do, I would buy beers from the supermarket that anybody can purchase, because I found it really hard to find the Andsome Brewery stuff up here.
Yeah.
So I need to have a word with how I can get hold of some.
Oh, too right. Well, hopefully we can make that happen. And Coruja is quite a big. It's Portuguese, is it not? And it is a local. It's made by Superboc. I'm discovering.
It certainly is made by Superboc. Yeah.
Ah, okay. Let's have whilst you're having a nibble there, I'm going to have a little look at Coruja, because as well as all these wonderful independent brewers around Portugal, the big brewers are definitely getting into it, because they're seeing. I mean, that's a good sign as well, isn't it? That they're getting into it. And this is the Cerveja Coruja, made by Superboc. Are you 18? I know I don't look it, but yes, I am. I'm going in. Let's have a look at the collection then of Coruja beers. Oh no, what's this? Coruja. Oh, they've got artworks for sale as well. They look like Bordalo 2 works. They really do. Okay, so that's really cool to see Superboc getting into the business there. My preference, I think, is to support, like we're talking about with the local growers. Support the craft beer makers, the indie ones. But isn't it great that the big brewers are getting in, and as a choice, an alternative to the regular?
Exactly that, Carl.
So how is it then, gentlemen? How's your food this morning? Lucky buggers.
Really, really good. It's the best breakfast I've had in a while.
But it is with beer as well. Look at you, Alan. It would be even earlier. Cheers, mate. Chin to you, Saud. 6 minutes past 4 in Massachusetts. Just wanted everyone to have a great day, going back to bed, and just remember, wherever you are, there you is. Absolutely spot on. That's
my brother. No, it's not. I have a brother called Alan.
Do you? Right. Okay, but not in Massachusetts at the moment. How's it, João de Norte? Can you speak, or have you got a mouthful of taco there? How is it?
Hang on. Let me just.
Oh, we can see you again. Perfect. Gotcha. How is it, John?
Good. Very authentic.
What a great
Sorry,
start.
I haven't shaved and combed this morning.
I think it's the right pairing, personally. It's the right personal pairing for a taco and beer breakfast, isn't it? You don't.
Absolutely.
Not going to be in a dinner jacket having that. That is superb. Good stuff. Okay, so bom dia, uma cerveja, por favor. So Darren's ordering as well. His recommendation. This is a great idea, Darren. Anyone who's gone off the beaten track away from the Sagres and the Superboc, do let us know what you would recommend to us. And I know Darren yesterday was in one of his favorite bars drinking one of these. Have you had this, gentlemen? The Jagura?
No.
No, that's the name of the establishment, not the beer. So it looks like an IPA in that Jagura.
Looks like a wheat beer.
Oh, yes, I beg your pardon. It does look like a Hogarden sort of experience where you can't. It's very thrushy, but delicious nonetheless. I'm sure lemony and delicious and refreshing on a slightly warmer day here in Portugal. Any more recommendations? Let us know. You, Darren, specifically, and anyone else who's discovered something recently that they like. By Randy might be included in there. Is he putting Marmite on his taco?
He's trying to.
That's bold, isn't it? Now, I think Marmite is actually from the brewing industry, isn't it, originally? I think that's
It's an extract. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think they might. I think the Burton Brewery might have been behind that back in the UK. Hola, bon dia, Malta, back from a super walk through the Bairrada. I hope I've not missed the beer fest. You haven't. I've got a picture of you by Andy, which we'll show in a minute, as we learn more about the Andsome Brewery in Lourinhã, a place of the dinosaurs, but also of indie brewing. That's Jagurba in Gaia with a hazy IPA. It wasn't an IPA, a hazy IPA. Let's have a look.
Wow.
I'm so hungry and thirsty right now. I'm doing this to myself. I realize that, and I'll make better preparations next time. But that's beautiful. The graphics, the setting. And when I saw that yesterday afternoon, I really fancied a beer. Made do with some Alentejo red wine left over from the wine club on Monday. But today I think I've got to get to the meetup today and see what I can do to go off-piste a little bit and away from the Sagres and Superbar. I think I can probably get the stout in there, so maybe I'll do that today. With a Bifana, I'm thinking. So what else have you discovered then in this, looking more closely at the pairing of beer and food?
I'm definitely up for a challenge. I'm looking forward to 9:30 and being introduced to the Andsome guy.
Anson, that's right. He'll be here with us soon.
And hopefully I can do some pairings for some of the beers that the brewery does. It's opened up a whole new, wrong term to use, but can of worms for me. In the sense of,
you know what? Can of worms. Can of worms is a great name for a beer, isn't it?
Yes, I'm really looking forward to that. I'm really looking forward to it. There's quite a bit. I mean, it's given me ideas, obviously, with my association with Lecture up here as well. It's given me some more inspiration for different things to potentially put on the menu there as well.
Okay, good. Cairo are in, and I don't necessarily associate Egyptian food with beer. You might not, but I'm sure that's a rich seam, a rich possibility there, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Darren had 4 of those. It was too nice of those hazy IPAs. And Sarah's in this morning. Owen! And a bon dia to you from Sarah Taylor. Message to Dan, please, Sarah. I would like to drink craft beer with him soon, if possible. Maybe see you at the meetup. It's Wednesday, folks. San Martino de Porto, Wednesday. Every Wednesday between 1 and 3, we have a meetup in the bay. So come and join us if you'd like to do so. Andsome James joining us in a little while and telling us more about his microbrewery. I think that's what he would call it in Lourinhã. And keep bringing in those suggestions for craft beers that are available here in Portugal. We had a lovely time in Coimbra. By Andy, are you still watching? There we are. There's Andy Klein filming Edward. And he was very exacting. Edward, a German fella. And the Germans are pretty serious about their beer, aren't they? I don't know if you noticed this. Met many Germans, Owen, but they do love their beer. And he came in quite an analytical, and he'd set the bar quite high, I think. His standards are high. And I think the Portuguese beers did very well in relation to Edward's standards and approach. And there, as I showed you before, Andy, there you go. That's me and by Andy. In rapt attention with Guido from the Bila Brewery, and we've also got a shot of the selection from Bila, which there's I can't see it. It's a little bit too small. Let me just blow it up a little bit. Yes, we've got a Double, a sweet stout, an IPA, and he had a very interesting blueberry beer and a Moscatel grape ale. As well, that particular fellow Guido up there in Bila. So what I'm going to do is set the scene with another chap I met there, Pedro. Give Owen and Joao a chance to finish off their tacos, and I'm going to play a video for you. This is me talking about Pedro, a man who's had a beer named after him. I've discovered recently I've had a cocktail named after me, which I'm very excited about. This is a man who's had a beer named after him. So meet Pedro, everybody. He's a real character up there in Coimbra. And this was one of the early images I captured. That's in front of the screen of beers. It was a roll call of honor It was the menu, basically. Behind that beer is a lovely orange screen, and that was the colour scheme chosen for this festival, Strong Beers Festival d'Inverno. Oh, and I've got my little tasting cup here. You don't have a pint, do you, when you go to a real ale festival? You have a little third of a pint pot here, which I drank many delightful beers from. That was my first. I think I went straight in for an American pale ale, which may have, some of these beers may have hurt my throat, as you can hear. Excuse me. And one of the many highlights was meeting this chap. And there's a story behind his shirt as well. Portuguese Pedro, he's a bit of a legend. I think he was one of the first people to have a craft beer bar in Coimbra, which he runs to this day. And I think he was involved with Praxis, as you can see on the label there. Very early on, they're the daddy, I think, of craft beer brewing in Coimbra. And they liked what he does, what he did so much that they named a beer after him. And I've never met somebody who's had a beer named after them, I don't think. Talking of which, I believe I've had a cocktail named after me. Thank you, Johnny Cocktail. Really looking forward to trying that. Truly honoured. So thank you very much indeed. Lovely to receive that message that the testing is complete and it's perhaps official that I have a cocktail named after me. So what an amazing weekend. I met a man who had a beer named after him. And there it is there, Portuguese Pedro, an APA. And his shirt, you can buy his merchandise, which includes a lot of American vintage and retro stuff in his shop, which probably is near, if not the same building as his bar. And you can ride around in his vintage American car around the town as well. Now, have I still got the bits of paper in my pocket? You know what it's like when you go to an event, people stuff things in your pocket or you stuff things in your own pocket. Yes, let me show you this. His shop is called Kula Bula, and he promises experiences of a lifetime. And there's the vehicle that you can ride around Coimbra in. He owns that vehicle there. Retro shopping, good old music. I think there's some rockabilly music going on there. He's loving the sort of 50s vibe of the United States there. Tasting craft beers. So if you want to visit Coimbra, I would put Kula Bula if you like retro. And what a treat to have a ride around in his old vehicle. So there you go. Pedro, who had a beer named after him. And he wasn't the only wonderful character there. We met a fantastic guy called Guido from the Bila Brewery, who told us some great stories. So, of course, the Englishman, the Irishman, and a German man. So Edward was with me and Bobby as we wandered around the beer festival. And we met Guido from the Bila Brewery. Do you know why it's called the Bila Brewery? It's because it's from Villarreal. And people in the north don't say their V's like Villarreal. They will say Villarreal. And that's why he's called his brewery Bila. And we heard some fantastic stories from him and many other really diligent and passionate brewers up there. So well done. Oh, and Gustavo, of course, and Joao, the organisers. We went outside and filmed outside the market because it was getting a bit noisy. And we filmed in the open air with Gustavo and Joao, organisers of the Strong Beers Festival. And this is this kind of, not a side festival exactly, but this is the smaller one of the two festivals that they have each year. The big one will be in September, and we'll be there for that. So if you fancy joining us, if you couldn't make it this time. Oh, Pete was there as well. Pete and, was it Paul you were with? They are the beer, they dress up as monks and go around the country drinking. And it was like, oh, Peter and Paul. When are Matthew, Mark, Luke and John turning up? Great to see you, Pete, and looking forward to your festival in Castanheira de Pera again, just before the Coimbra Festival in September. So it's looking like we can have a beer drinking event soon in Portugal every month, if not every weekend, within about 5 or 10 years. And don't forget, we've got a craft beer corner starting next Wednesday? I think it might be. Yes, indeed, this is it. You are very welcome to the very first craft beer corner, and it will be under the leadership of James from the Andsome Brewery, Andsome Beer. He joins us now. Let's give him a nice big round of applause. Well, hey. Good morning.
Hey, Carl, how are you? Can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear from your brewery. How wonderful.
That's right. Thanks for having us on Good Morning Portugal. It's a brew day here in Lourinhã. I'm brewing an extra special bitter this morning, so fingers crossed things go well.
And did I see you just tasting it, just on camera there for a moment?
No, this is what we call. The only other beverage I drink is called coffee.
Right. Okay. Yeah, breakfast of champions there. But presumably you will have to be trying a little bit of the bitter brew that you're making today. Or is it too early?
It's an unfortunate side effect of making the beer. Someone has to test it. That's right, Carl.
Well, it's so good of you to join us. Looking forward to an exciting adventure with you. Meet Owen, who is our food alchemist and has been dabbling with a few beer-influenced recipes. But they've got some beer-marinated tacos up there in Ponte Lima this morning, and they've got a Coruja beer, and we can see that Superboc are getting in on the action with craft brewing here in Portugal. You are very much a part of that scene, this wonderful scene that's developing here in Portugal. Can you tell us how you got into it?
Into brewing, actually. I left the motherland, the UK, about 26 years ago.
Did you?
And I loved beer. I grew up in a pub, loved drinking British beers, and we moved to France, and the beer there was a little bit different, and I was whinging and moaning about it. And my wife one day got fed up and bought me a beer kit and said, "Make your own beer. Stop complaining." So that was about 26 years ago, we did various other different things, and we moved to Portugal about 10 years ago and decided we'd step up a little bit. And during the pandemic, that was time to really, really experiment. We had a lot of time on our hands and things, so we were brewing beer for the neighbours, for lots of different people, and they all said, "You should open something, you should do something, the beer's really good." And so we took a gamble, we threw the dice, and we opened up a very small tap room in Lourinhã. Everything's brewed on site here, and we tried to make beers that we're really passionate about. And it's that was 3 years ago now, and it's kind of been going from strength to strength, really. We didn't know how it was going to go, but especially because it's such a small place, Lourinhã, but people seem to travel for it. People like it, Carl.
Yeah, we do. As I was saying there on the end of that recording, it's looking like we'll be able to go to a different beer event every month in Portugal soon. There's the wonderful Coimbra event that I mentioned there. That's one of two that they do. There is Pete's in Castanheira de Pera. And Aveiro has a festival. Even when I lived in Korea, tiny little town up near Aveiro, they had a little beer festival there. Lisbon, you can go every weekend to Lisbon and try different craft beers. They've got a wonderful Musa brewery there. Something's definitely happening in this country, as it is all over the world, I guess. And I'm just so fascinated that to find out how it's going down. And as you say, in a small town, famous for its dinosaurs, right? Because you've got the dinosaur coast there, haven't you? And the dinosaur experience. And now, yes. a British beer maker. How have the locals responded to you and your eccentricity?
That was, to start with, was interesting because due to the paperwork here in Portugal, things can take a bit longer sometimes, especially when a local authority is trying to classify you as something that they've never seen it before. Right. They were kind of querying that you want to make alcohol and sell it in the same space. They weren't sure what license to give us. So we were delayed opening by about 3 months, and there was a queue of people out the door. They all kind of knew what was coming, but they were asking us if it was ready. The beers were ready, but we, due to not having the right paperwork, we couldn't. The same old story here sometimes. We couldn't open. But so we did open the doors, and fortunately, we had lots of people coming in straight away. And we were featured on this an expat British show, A New Place in the Sun, which was about British expats setting up businesses in foreign countries on Channel 4 in the UK. And that really helped to start with. That first year when business is, it can be a sort of a testing time for a new business. That really helped get some expats and British people through the doors, certainly. And with that, the locals sort of slowly started to trundle in. Interestingly enough, Carl, a lot of them had never, ever tried a beer that wasn't Superboc or Sagres. So they had this preconception that they didn't like beer. And so we were trying to challenge them. Look, just try this one. Do you like chocolate? Try this chocolate stout. Yeah, try this one. This is from Germany. Try this one. This is an Irish beer. And lots of people, that's the most satisfying thing. When they come in the tap room, they say they don't really like beer. Maybe one of a couple might like beer, the other one might like wine. And if you can convert them or just find a beer that they think they can connect with, that was really, really fun. So it's been really good to try to sort of cement ourselves with the locals here. So that seems to be our trade, is more local trade.
That's wonderful.
I'd say about 50% Portuguese, 50% sort of expats from all over the world. So it's been going really well, and we're just starting to produce enough now to start going to events and beer festivals. And I'm really looking forward to one we have a local one in Caldas, Lourinhã, which is on the 16th and 17th of March, which I'm really looking forward to that.
Well, that's where I met you first of all, wasn't it? On the last Silver Coast Beer Festival that the Communities Unite folks put together. That was superb. And there was a really good showing there. So, and is that part of what a craft brewer has to do now, is get on the road and tour with the beers?
I think that's the best way. I think really it is, because you meet so many more people than can make it to your outlet, and you have direct control over the quality of the beer that's being served, and you can showcase some of the new things that you're thinking about doing. And you can kind of chat to people more, have a more direct a link to how they think the beer tastes, and does it taste the same as you? I mean, that's part of the problem of brewing, is it's very difficult to tell yourself whether you've made a good beer or not. I think really the proof of the pudding is in what you guys think, basically.
Yeah, that must be in both enjoyable and a little bit like bearing your soul, like a musician, right? Performing live. It's like your performance, isn't it? And seeing what the reaction is from people. And I would love to have seen the reaction of the local Portuguese people who you say, I mean, you're doing humanitarian work, basically. There's still lots of people that only know Superbock or Sagres as their entire world of beers, though. And you've met them and you've been educating them, I guess, in some other options, and they've become customers, which is wonderful. Forgive me, I'm a little bit distracted because I've got a man trimming my hedge, which is not a euphemism. There's actually a man looking over the back garden wall with an implement, an electronic or diesel-powered, a petrol-powered implement in his hand, trimming the ivy on the back wall here, which is a little bit disconcerting. Darren saw you on TV. I knew and remember the name of Andsome from somewhere, Channel 4, which, of course, you're from Dorset, aren't you, in the UK originally, if I recall correctly, when we spoke back in the Silver Coast Festival. And so where does the name come from? And that is a sort of Dorset turn of phrase, isn't it, me Andsome?
That's right, yeah. I'm from the Isle of Purbeck, which is near to Bournemouth, a little bit more out in the countryside.
Yeah.
And there they don't really pronounce their H's. And you would use the word Andsome to describe a day or a house, a car, and in this case, a beer. And we didn't actually think about the other side of it. People come and said, "Oh, is that name because it's Andsome, as in Andsome more beer?" But we didn't even think about that until after we'd opened and customers started coming in and saying it. But I think it was a late night discussion with my wife after many, many beers when we came up with it. I think I slipped back into the old West Country accent and was like, "That is an Andsome beer," and we were testing some, and she went, "That's it, you've got it, that's it." And
it sounds like your wife is very important to this operation. We have her to thank, don't we, for getting you into beer in the first, or brewing your own beer in the first place. And she's a vital part of this operation, by the sound of it.
Annie, my wife, yes, she's very vital. She brews her own beer. Actually, there's a few beers that we produced that she came up with, and she brews them now, still to this day. There's a Vienna lager and the German Marzen we do. And she decided she wanted to make them and stuff. And so now, when we do make those beers, she takes over.
Super.
Wow.
Well, can you talk us? I don't know if you've got any questions, Owen, but can you talk us through some of these your range here, which is very impressive. I hope you can see it on the screen here, James. Talk us through these.
I could see. Yeah, it's been a bit of a journey actually, because we came up with a core range to start with. That was, we tried to have something for everybody. So there were 8 beers to start with. And since then, all those beers have gone through transformations to try and get them right. The most difficult one was the IPA, because we have American and English guests. And they have a very different idea of what an IPA is. So that one, we tried to tread right down the middle of the Atlantic, and try and made one beer that would please both parties. And since then, it's kind of drifted more towards more west towards the US. So it has the full-bodiedness of an English IPA, but it has the hop aroma and the bitterness of like a West Coast IPA as well. So that's a really interesting journey. The biggest seller we have is the Irish Red. That's men and women. Some beers need to are kind of more polarized to one sex or another, generally, we're noticing. But the Irish Red is definitely the best seller. Everyone seems to like that. That's a traditional Irish red ale, and we kind of dry hopped it with some American hops just to give it a little bit of fruity sort of zing to the nose and to the taste buds, and that seems to work really well. The other one is we decided to do one which had the Aguardente de Lourinhã in it, which is a local product here, which is like a brandy. So that's the stout, which is a sweet milk stout, chocolate stout with Aguardente de Lourinhã. It just has like a little finish in the end. The trouble with that is it takes a long time to make. It's around 3 to 4 months to make it. And it's so popular that I get in trouble if it's not on tap in the tap room, that one. So it's kind of, I've always got a fermenter, always full of that, just aging in the background. That one was very interesting as well. We do a lager, a dry hopped lager, which was a complete mistake. I asked my wife to hand me a certain hop, and she handed me a different hop, and I ended up putting that in, and it's a no-no in brewing what we did with that. But it turned out to be something that was really nice, and that's also really popular on draft in the summer.
Fantastic! Isn't that wonderful when a mistake turns into a market leader, possibly?
It's incredible. Yeah, it's very rare. I think that happens in brewing, but that one's got a good story behind it. We do a few others which are special ones. We've got about 50 beers that we make now on and off. So specialty beers for different things, different times of the year. We do an extra special bitter for a local battle reenactment, Vermeero battle reenactment. We make an aged extra special bitter that we only sell at that time of year, and that's what I'm making today. In fact,
is that one that like fits in with the whole reenactment thing, like foamy beer that you in a sort of medieval beer, if you like?
It's not quite that. We did a bit of research as to what beer they might have drunk back then, and there's a lot of ambiguity about it. So we decided to stick with a classic, really luxurious British bitter that would really travel well. And we liked to imagine that, when the English and the Portuguese together combined won that battle against the French, that they may have celebrated with a pint of extra special bitter. There's a little bit of artistic license there, but the story seems to go down quite well, and the beer's fantastic. So I think the last battle reenactment we had, we're serving it live there to all the soldiers, and it was fantastic. We had the British and the French and the Portuguese soldiers all in different groups, and they're all drinking the beer, and they were actually late for the reenactment because they were too busy drinking the beer at our stall.
That's perfect. And who knew that these reenactments were going on? And there you are. This has turned into what sounds like quite a nice lifestyle to be, laboring away, innovating these beers, and then to meet people who want to drink them in this way all over the country in all different sorts of settings.
Carl, may I ask James a couple of questions? Is that okay?
Yeah, of course you can. Yeah, that's what you're here to do. This is the beginning of Craft Beer Corner.
I'm a massive Porter Ale fan, have been for at least 14 years. So obviously one of my first questions is do you do Porter Ales?
That's the one style that at the moment we've mucked around with more session stouts, and we've mucked around. Lots of an imperial stout. We do a normal stout, something in between. So as far as black beers go, those are the ones we've done. I've got some locals who are really, really bugging me to make a blackberry porter.
Wow.
So I've written the recipe, and it has to be checked by the tax authorities for various reasons. That's a whole other story, that one. Okay. The offender going to have to check that they're going to get the right amount of tax from the alcohol we produce. It's a long, boring story and a very Portuguese one. But yes, so it's with the tax authorities, that recipe at the moment. So hopefully, fingers crossed, I'll get that out before summer. That's what I'm hoping.
They're probably just fighting those officials are just fighting each other to be the person who comes to the brewery to try it, I suspect. Go on.
I wish it was trying it. No, we can't even produce it. We can't make it. We can't even touch the ingredients until they give us the okay. It's purely paperwork and that sort of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the other question was as well, because I'm noticing up here the emergence, in particular over the last year and a half, of the sours, the sour beers.
Yes.
And they seem to be popular across the board. So is that something else that you're looking into as well?
We do, yeah. We do make one sour. I make a sour is not a type, a style that I've really had much experience with. So I've been learning more about that. Like last year, and we produced one sour, which was a mango and passion fruit sour, which was made with Philly sour yeast, which is so much more a so much better way of making sour beer. You can have, instead of having to wait and age and relying on a sort of wild yeast infection, this is a lot more controlled. But the downside is that the yeast likes the fermentation temperature to be around 26, 27 degrees. So I mean, the beer itself was really a good seller. It was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. It's kind of like almost a beginner sour, I would say. It's very fruity, like a sour with a sour finish, but it means we can only really produce it in the warmer temperatures come along. So I have people asking, I have lots of Russian guests that come in that are just addicted to sours, and they really like that sour we make, but they're going to have to wait till temperature comes up, and I start producing that, I think, more.
Hold on a minute. Brilliant. I have Russian guests. I mean, just exactly how international is your clientele? Here you are in a little town, in a beautiful place. I love Lourinhã. We've taken the kids to the dinosaur experience there, and we found that lovely cafe in the park, and we had a wander around, and we saw your brewery down the side street there. What a lovely little town it is. And you're attracting people, are you, from all around the world who are coming to see you?
I don't know. There's certainly a lot of Americans. We have a lot of Americans that make the trip specifically to come. I think because where we are here, there's such an oasis of craft beer. I mean, Caldas, Lourinhã, there's 3 really good breweries there, craft breweries that I know, and then Edicena is the next stop for craft beer. So anyone who lives kind of in this little bubble, I think this is the closest we can get. We try to stock craft beers from other local craft breweries as well, and try and advertise the fact that they're also in business, and send people to them, and they send people to us. It's a very kind of scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. It's really nice, actually.
Yeah, that's what we're hoping is going to happen on Craft Beer Corner here. We'll do this on the first Wednesday of every month, and perhaps other brewers will come along at your invitation, James. And talk I
hope so. I'm sure there's a few. I mean, the thing is about brewers, as I'm sure you probably noticed already, Carl, is that they all love to talk about their own beer.
Yeah. So that I'm really looking forward to that, and we'll have a little sort of virtual tour around the country. Owen, carry on.
Yeah, I was going to say we still have the invitation from Francisco and the guys at Letra to have the tour around their brewery up here, Carl, at Boulevard.
Great, excellent.
So they're up for that.
Brilliant. There are questions about how to get hold of the beer, and I notice you do mail order here, James. It's very straightforward then, is it? You can go online, go to the website here, and I'll put the link to that in the chat, and just order, and that's shipped, is it, by courier? And
At the moment, it's not. No, at the moment we're not shipped, just purely because we've sold out of so many beers. At the moment, Christmas and New Year were absolutely crazy. So at the moment, I'm brewing like crazy, trying to restock everything, and as soon as it's ready, they'll all go back on sale on the website. Yeah. And we're trying to sort of some styles. I don't know. Might be a bit geeky, but some styles that are dry hopped, they kind of live better in a can as opposed to a bottle. Okay. So we're just in the process of switching some of them over, just to give them a little bit longer shelf life and make sure they get fresher there. So we're kind of having a bit of a revamp at the moment of the packaging. Some of the styles are, like stouts, they're more classic Belgians, they'll stay in the bottles. But yeah, the dry hop stuff, the IPAs, the New England IPAs, the sours, they'll all be transferred to cans, which is a lot easier packaging, sending. You haven't got to worry about broken things.
Sure, so that must be quite a big change to the operation to go into canning as well as bottling.
It's an investment. Yeah, it's definitely an investment. Yeah, it's something we've been saving up for a while. It's just, it's all that. It's the packaging, the printing, the labels, it all, and just changing the way it works. Having 2 production lines. It's an extra investment, but I think it's worth it. At the end of the day, if we can get better beer to people who don't come in the tap room and have it on tap, that's the aim of the game there.
Superb. And you mentioned the packaging there, which I think is absolutely beautiful. The look of the brewery, the tap room, and the beers themselves is great. We'll come back to that because there's a lot of comments. Dan loves his craft beer, so I imagine Dan will be happy to come with me to come and see you. I was hugely disappointed with beers in Germany, says Darren. They don't have much flavour and are all very basic. That was after mentioning Edward, who was quite particular as he approached the Coimbra Strong Beers Festival the other weekend. I wish I can have Egyptian beer for you all, says Cairo. Who wants to be put in touch? We'll come back to that as well. Count us in. Nice, lovely to see you here, the Global Nobles, for a Gumbo beer. We're up for that. Superb. Still lots of people who only know the Superbock or Sagres. And of course, James and all his colleagues in independent brewing are doing their bit to change that. The Iron Duke pub in Aveiro has lots of great and varied craft beers. Thank you, Barandi, for that comment. Interesting, the licensing difficulties, considering so many places are called cervejarias, which means brewery. But I guess you have to do it in a certain time-honored way, which is straightforward. As soon as you go off piste at all, you're causing problems for yourself, James. Is that right?
It can be that way. Yeah, I think it's changing fast at the moment. All this, I think it's just in our little town here. I think a lot of people, it's quite a sheltered places like Lisbon. The bigger places, Lourinhã, Coimbra, Porto, they're kind of used to it now. But it is very much the case in Portugal. You go into the country and people haven't been exposed to these things. It's a newfangled thing. I think it's different. Can I just answer that question about German beers?
You're coming to the defense.
I don't know if anybody's aware, but I've been told recently there's about the purity law in Germany and beers is that they have a law where you're only allowed to have the basic ingredients in your beer produced in Germany. So if you're looking for other things, fruited beers and things like that, they have high restrictions about how you make them. So you're allowed yeast and water, hops and malt in the beers in Germany, but other than that, you're not allowed. It's a law that they created there. I have no idea why, but that's.
So that would make them a bit one-dimensional, as Darren is suggesting there.
A little bit more traditional. I mean, they are still fantastic. They can be fantastic if you get really. I mean, I do like German beers, but there's not a lot of like the rest of the world at the moment is experimenting with all these different wonderful ingredients, and they just don't have that. I just know because I've been trying to export beers, a few beers to Germany, and some of ours that have chili in or other things that are not. They're not allowed. You can't sell them there.
Fascinating. Wow. Thank you for that. These beer festivals are great social events, says by Andy. We had a great time in Coimbra, didn't we? The brewers are also friendly and interesting and glad to chat with you. Yeah, we had a wonderful time. And I think a fellow Dorset lad, up the cherries, may you? Are you a cherry fan, James? I don't know. Carl Munson, please send me James's contact details. I'm interested to have his beer in my Cairo restaurant. Have you been to Cairo in Caldas, James?
I haven't, no.
Oh, she wants your beer over there, which is great. And do you remember Anstey Ale, James, from your native Dorset?
Anthony Ale? No, I don't.
Anstey, it's called.
No, I don't know.
Maybe you were in France by the time that was popular in that part.
It might be, yes, it might be.
Is that why some places sell New England IPA for English customers? Are they trying to catch the English customers and not have them sort of too influenced by the American in the title?
The New England IPAs, they are they use hops from New England in the States, so there's a certain region there. So they would generally be really, really, really aroma hop based IPAs.
All right. Dan is planning a visit to Andsome after this descriptive discussion. There you go. I tried a nice cherry beer recently. You talked about these fruit beers, James. What other fruit beers have you got or planned?
We've got fruity beers. One of the ones we did, which was a hang up from a friend I used to brew with, was a chili beer, which sounds strange, but it's absolutely fantastic. It really is. It's a dark wheat beer base, and we use Scotch bonnet, Jamaican chilies, just to give it this because they are such lovely chilies. They don't just. It's not just the heat. There's a fruitiness with them. So you drink the beer, you have this lovely kind of dark wheat-based caramel, and then afterwards you just have this heat residue in the back of your throat that builds as you have more and more and more. It's fantastic. So we're out of stock of that, but I'll be making more of that next week.
Yeah, superb. I think Dan and Owen, Global Nobles, we're all on our way. We're all on our way. A nice craft beer with your Borrego Cairo would be a great pairing. So that's the Egyptian lamb with a
Oh, lovely.
from Lourinhã. That could be good, couldn't it? Can he give a tour of the bar? No, going back to your packaging, which I think is absolutely beautiful. The styling. Is this anything to do with Annie? The whole styling thing is amazing. Can we see a bit more of the bar? Is that possible, James, before we finish today?
It is, yeah. It's very small. I could pick it up. I'm on my phone, so I could pick it up and see.
Okay, great.
So
I'm going to
see
give you full screen so we can have a little look around.
There we go. So the bar, this is the entranceway, the outside. We're on one of the old streets in Lourinhã.
Oh, beautiful.
That's the actual bar there. So with the taps and stuff, and you've got upstairs as well.
Superb.
Yeah, and then back down the back there, you can see is where all the beer's made, and up the top at the back there.
That's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. And you do a bit of food here as well. Tell us about the food.
A little bit of food, yes. We have. When we opened, we decided we were going to do almost proper food, but we found that people were coming to book. They were coming to book tables and saying, can I have a table for 6 for 8 o'clock? And we do serve one white wine and one red wine because we're aware that some people are beer disabled. So, but people were booking tables for food and ordering wine, and we weren't really selling beer for those things. It's because it's a nice space to be. I think lots of locals were doing that. So we decided to change the food a bit, and now they're just petiscos. So it's just stuff to accompany a beer, sharing platters, that sort of thing. So we wanted to keep the beer in the forefront, but that was a bit of a faux pas to start with.
That's interesting, isn't it? So that they were taking you down a different road that you hadn't had in mind.
Yes, that's it. People were coming in and ordering proper meals, but they were saying, "I don't really like beer. Have you got any wine?" And
as you described them, beer disabled.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's the technical term we use. That's the technical term.
Right, trivia time. This has been great. Thank you. The first of many, I hope, and we'll see other brewers on the screen at Craft Beer Corner. Trivia time. The use of hops originated in Bavaria in 722, with the first documented use in medicine at the Bavarian monastery. Commercial hop cultivation began in northern Germany during the late 1100s, and the top hops producers: number 1, the USA; 2, Germany; Czech Republic in 3rd; China, look at that, Poland, Slovenia, Australia, New Zealand, Spain, and UK, the top 10 of top hops producers there. And by Randy, trying to jog your memory on Anstey Ale, if you could drink 2 pints, all the rest you drank was free at the Fox. It was that good at the Fox pub in Anstey near Dorchester, closed in the late 80s there, Bay. Excellent stuff. Last words from both of you then, because it's actually 10 o'clock now. And the guy's still trimming my hedge outside. He's really been doing his best to put me off my stride this morning. Owen, thank you so much for your live cookery demo and being beer influenced. It didn't take much to get you beer influenced, to be fair, did it? I mean, I think you've risen to the challenge.
No, not at all. No. It's been great, Carl. I've absolutely enjoyed it. Lovely to meet you, James. And hopefully I can take a visit from up north and come down and sample some of the wonderful ales you have there. Really looking forward to that.
I'll be with you, Owen. I'll be with you.
As long as you bring some food down with you, that'll be lovely.
That'll be perfect. We can have a chat. I'll get your contact information from Carl and we'll arrange something.
Lovely. Nice to meet you too. Yes, that sounds great.
James, finally then, visiting you, when is it possible to do that for people?
At the moment, we're on winter opening hours just because we're trying to concentrate on brewing more. So in the week, we're open Tuesdays, Wednesdays and Thursdays, 5 till 10. And on the weekends, Friday and Saturday, we're open from 5 till midnight.
Okay, that sounds wonderful. And are there nice places to stay in Lourinhã?
Nice places to stay. Yeah, there's a hotel up the road, which is nice. Which is called the Lazarus Hotel, which is a stumbling. You can rebound off the small streets just to get there home. It's perfectly placed. And then you have your normal smatterings of Airbnbs and stuff. But if you're looking for somewhere to stay specifically, we've got a good network of people who have rooms to offer and B&Bs and stuff. So yeah, get in contact with us. We can recommend somewhere easily.
Fantastic invitation. Oh, what was that? Yeah,
I'm thinking an Englishman, an Irishman, and a Jamaican visit a brewery.
Sounds good to me. Sounds good to
Doesn't it?
me. Yeah, looking forward to that. So superb. What a great debut on Craft Beer Corner here. We'll see you again at the beginning of the next month of March, of course. Cheers, James. Great job. Cheers, Owen.
Thank you very much. Nice to meet you guys. Take care. Have a lovely day.
Everybody, take care and
Cheers.
bye for now.